Meow, 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 everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everyone, Cantonese Cat here, part 2 of the miners. I'm going to talk about some of the other ones that I don't have a stake in. I talked about Clean Smart Mara, Bitfarms, Cypher, Irene, and Woof, which I do have a stake in, but the rest of them I do not. I just want to talk about them for your benefit and make maybe $1 out of ad revenue with these videos because they generally are not very popular. But that's okay. If I was going to buy 2 other miners, which I'm not planning on, but if I was going to buy 2 other miners based on technical analysis, the 2 that I would look into right now would be Bitdigital, BTBT, and Bitdeer, BTDR. Those are going to be the 2 that looks a little bit more bullish compared to the rest of the gang, although I still think the 6 that I picked earlier are going to be the most bullish. Let's start with BTBT. What is it doing? It's been looking pretty decent. It's at resistance though. It had a bullish crossover here at the Tank in the Kitchen on the monthly here back in February 2024. And so far, unfortunately, price is below both the Tank and the Kitchen. And Kitchen right now is starting as resistance as 2.9, right? But because it's underneath the Kitchen here, I think eventually it's going to push back above of it, hopefully back test it, maybe getting resistance over here at the Tank at around 3.5, maybe range it a little bit further before going higher. Or if Bitcoin ends up doing really well, it might just slide through all this and just end up going to the bottom of the cloud like around like $10, in late 2024, early 2025. That's always a possibility, right? But so far it's just been ranging between here and here around like, $1.80, $1.90 to around like $4 or $5 up here, right? It's just been ranging and it's the bottom of the range. Got a little bit of resistance here to work through, but most likely it's probably going to end up pushing through given due time if Bitcoin does well. Looking okay, actually. The Subishi Cloud, again, trying to flip the Tenkan over here, the blue line over here for resistance to support. So it's working on it. Looks like something is happening. We'll see whether or not it can make it happen or not. It reclaimed the 20-month moving average, which is pointing up. It looks a little bit squeezy here, so it's probably going to end up precipitating a big move. What is the big move going to be? Is it going to be something crazy like hitting the bottom of the Ichimoku cloud over here by the end of 2024 or early 2025? Possible. Something looks like it's spending a lot of energy over here as range bound and looking not bad actually. Looking at 2 week, same thing. Look at the Ichimoku is bouncing from the bottom of the cloud. Looks like it wants to bounce from the cloud and go up higher, right? Looking pretty decent. Super itchy cloud, still underneath the cloud. Looks like it wants to gravitate above back to the cloud over here, but it's getting a little bit rejected over here by the Tenkan line over here, right? A little bit of resistance it needs to get back above, but overall looking pretty decent. Again, look at the monthly. You see like the whales have just been kind of in. Retail is just kind of hanging out, but there's still more whale predominant over here at this range. And if you also look at the volume for BTBT is also very telling. The volume when it buys, when it goes up, the buy volume is increasing, sell volume is decreasing. Same thing, right? Buy volume increasing. So as consolidation, the selling range out here is on declining volume. Looks like the whales haven't really left throughout the entire time. They're still there. The whales are still high. Look at the bright red over here. Not much bearish divergence here to really get worried about here on the monthly, right? On the 2 week, you can see whales are really starting to come in over the last month or so, right? And on the weekly, you can tell a much better picture, like retails are becoming less and less significant, and whales are coming in. They're coming in hot. They're coming in hot and hotter. The trend for whales coming in seems to be high, right? Again, not really a whole heck a lot of bearish divergence we need to really worry about here at this range. It's just been ranging. Right? The Ichimoku cloud, you try and break back into the Ichimoku cloud over here. And if you look at the Tsubichi cloud, is trying to reclaim the Tenkan over here. So there's a lot of kind of these positive action here, no bearish divergence, whales coming in. It's a pretty good look for BTBT. If I had to pick one of these, this is one of the ones that I would probably end up picking, right? Going back to the monthly, I'm going to switch to Bitdeer here. What is Bitdeer doing? Well, it doesn't really have a whole lot of price history here. It just looks like a big giant diamond, to be honest with you. It's just consolidating for about a year and a half now, doing a whole heck of nothing, right? RSI is also doing a whole heck of nothing, right? Whales initially look like they might be leaving, but hey, for the month of June, what happens? They got a little bit of bright red whale candle over here. I wonder whether or not they're coming in now, right? So it looks like if I'm going to buy into another one of these, maybe Bitdeer is one to potentially look at. But there are a few things that are against it. First of all, the Ichimoku cloud below the Tenkan and Kijun, right? Not a great look. Tsukuichi cloud below the Tenkan and Kijun, not a great look. Bollinger Band still underneath the 20-month moving average, right? It's not a great look either. The only great look is really looking for is really this whale inflow here, which might mean that you're still buying a falling knife. But if you're going to go by whale data, it potentially might be a good entry, but there's no confirmation. 2 weeks, okay, let's do a little bit of a closer look in here, right? Whale, again, slowly increasing, retail slowly decreasing, right? Not really a whole heck of bearish divergence here. Underneath the Tenkan and Kijun, underneath the cloud here on the Ichimoku. On the Tsukuichi, it looks like it's trying to reclaim the Tenkan and Kijun right here for these 2 weeks, right? It's just been consolidating sideways. Again, buy volume up, sell volume down, buy volume up, sell volume down, right? Pretty decent look over here on a shorter time frame, but again, on the higher time frame of the monthly is still no confirmation, unfortunately. Well, seems like it wants to come in though. Weekly, very nice over here this week so far, isn't it? Looks like we have a little bit of a volume kind of pickup here. It's only been 2 days out of the week in terms of buy volume here. Looks like a very, very bullish candle over here. Are you really hitting any major bearish divergence? You might be hitting some bearish divergence soon. Price might end up going up higher on bearish divergence, but eventually it's probably going to go higher, might consolidate back down here before going up higher. Is kind of what I'm seeing. Like bearish divergence is eventually going to need to work out here. But the whales are coming in, and that's very nice. That's kind of what I'm seeing here. If you look at Bollinger Band, squeezy, big move coming, right? Probably up if Bitcoin's go up. Probably going to end up bringing Bitdeer up higher with it. And the Bollinger Band you can also see is reclaiming the bull market support band here too. So the smaller time frame actually looks pretty decent in terms of whale, in terms of buying volume, in terms of bull market support band, in terms of the fact that Bollinger Band looks like it's very, very squeezing, looks like it's probably going to end up being a big move soon. All these things are favorable in the short term, but in the long term, on the monthly, because of how price initially is like this and it just kind of went down, you're still potentially dealing with a little bit of a falling knife. You really need to reclaim around like 850 or 9, maybe even back test it before going higher to really confirm a bull trend. But the whales are coming in and things can change in a hurry. If I'm going to buy one of these, it's going to be BTBT and BTDR. A couple of other ones just to kind of speed through. One that has been bringing a lot of people pain, excruciating pain, very, very bad pain. I don't know how else can you describe pain, but it's painful. Riot. Ichimoku Cloud. Bullish cross followed by a bearish cross. Not having a lot of momentum here, isn't it? You do have a range over here that is trying to break. Right, you do have a little bit of range over here is trying to break. But so far it's still stuck in the ranges. The bottom of the range is trying to break above. There's a lot of resistance above. Whales are not in yet. Whales are actually declining over the last few months and they're not in yet. Sometimes all it takes is a little bit more volume to kind of push things up above, but so far there's not a whole lot of momentum for Riot. I don't know when they're going to come in. Now, the Ichimoku Cloud, the bottom cloud is going to be up in the 20s, but there's a lot of things to kind of get over before you can get there. Tsukuichi Cloud, same thing, underneath the Tenkan, underneath the Kijun, underneath the cloud, a lot of resistance above, right? If you look at the Bollinger Band, again, underneath the 20-month moving average, it's still pointing up, so it's probably not going to be very, very strong resistance. All it takes is just maybe some volume to come in, some whale come in, it's just kind of push price up back about the 20-month moving average, but not there yet. Bollinger Band squeezing, so maybe a bigger move coming, right? But there needs to be some fixing here on this chart, and whales need to come in before I find Riot to be favorable. I don't know whether or not they're worried about spending all their money trying to buy bit farms. I don't know what they're doing, like to be completely honest, but the whales are not in. 2 week Ichimoku right now it's at the bottom of the cloud. Could it bounce from the bottom of the cloud, go up? Sure, there's a possibility that it might fall out of the cloud and losing cloud as a support here too on the 2 week, right? But good thing is still, if you look at the volume here, increasing buying volume, declining sell volume so far. This volume candle over here, this green over here is pretty decent volume. So far, price is kind of going sideways on declining volume here. So sometimes all it takes just a little bit of whale to kind of push back above, but you might lose a little bit of support here. Again, a lot of resistance above, right? Not much momentum here. So the HE cloud already fell underneath the cloud, back tested the cloud, got rejected, right? So price just kind of going sideways. We're waiting for some momentum to happen. Not much bearish divergence, but also not much bullish divergence to speak of. Not having a whole lot of momentum here so far. The weekly Ichimoku underneath the cloud. This candle is very, very nice. Hammer bottom candle. I think RIOT probably bottom, but it still lost the whales that it had gained from that hammer bottom. And it just needed to gain some kind of momentum, push price up higher. Not much bearish divergence here that I can see beneath the cloud, underneath the Tenkan, and see not really having a whole lot of momentum here, meeting resistance, unfortunately, but the volume is also relatively low compared to the other miners, so maybe something will end up rotating into RIOT soon, we'll see. Sipaichi underneath the Tenkan, right, same thing. Not much to speak of. Bollinger Band underneath the 20-week moving average. It's just been consolidating underneath the 20-week moving average. It's not really squeezing, it's not really expanding, it's doing nothing. The bull market support bands above potentially continue to serve as resistance, right? It's still a little bit negative sloping, a little bit flat to negative sloping here. We'll see what happens next, but we need to have some momentum here before I get bullish on RIOT. HUD 8 monthly, real quick. What do I think is happening? Let's look at it. Ichimoku may have a little bit of bullish cross coming soon, but price is underneath both the Tenkan and Kijun. Volume's just been declining here during this consolidation phase. There's a little bit of whale that come in for the month of June so far, but there's only been two trading days so far, so don't get too excited. But, potentially a bullish development over here. No bearish diversions or any significant bullish diversions that I can see here. Look at the Sipaichi cloud, still underneath a lot of resistance. Looking at the Bollinger Band, still underneath the 20-month moving average. It's starting to point down a little bit. It could potentially serve as resistance here still. But if Bitcoin goes up, it might end up breaking above and backtest and go higher. So far, there's no confirmation, right? Unfortunately, there's no confirmation. One good thing is, again, for the month of June, which again has only been 2 trading days, looks like it's coming in a little bit hot. So maybe even a little bit better than RIOT, which is, I don't know what to say about that. Looking at Ichimoku cloud on the 2-week chart underneath the Ichimoku cloud, underneath a lot of resistance, trying to get above the Tenkan over here. The whales have been slowly coming in over the last, month and a half or so potentially. If you look at the Sipaichi cloud, again, still underneath the cloud, underneath a lot of resistance over here. So there's no confirmation. It looks like it's maybe a little bit more like accumulation range over here, but there's no confirmation. It could potentially break down and go lower, potentially. But I doubt that if Bitcoin's going up. I think HUD is probably going to end up catching up. But it might be a major laggard looking at all these indicators. Looking at the weekly, what's going on in the weekly? Let's look at the Ichimoku cloud underneath the cloud. Maybe potentially reclaiming the Tenkan as support, right? But still underneath the cloud, maybe some micro change in terms of trend. You have a little bit increasing whales coming in over the last few weeks, right? Something potentially could tell me that, hey, you might end up hitting some of the bottom of the cloud over here around 12 or something like that. Might get rejected, hopefully form a little bit of a higher low before pushing for the cloud up higher. But this is still a pretty major laggard over here. So we'll see what happens with HUD here. The bull market support band is being reclaimed. There's a little bit of a bullish trend over here that might be starting to develop here on the weekly. If it's able to turn this flat and use it as support to push up higher, HUD might actually not look too bad. Interesting, yeah? Again, whales over the last few weeks or so has been slowly increasing. Retail percentages have been slowly decreasing. Not much bearish or bullish divergence here to speak of. It's just been consolidating sideways. That's HUD. What else is there to talk about? Let's talk about another one. I probably won't enter HUD though, because I still don't see confirmation. So there are a few that people talk about. I just don't want to get into them because their technicals actually don't look that great. One is HIVE, HIVE. If I pull up some of the technicals here, underneath both the Tenkan and Kijun here on the monthly, on the Ichimoku, underneath the Tenkan and Kijun over here on the monthly, on Super Ichi, this is a falling knife still, right? But all it takes is just a little bit of whale to come in. Again, volume's just been declining, but so far I'm not really seeing confirmation. Bollinger Band, underneath the 20-month moving average, looks worse than Riot. I probably would stay away for now. The whale looks like it's still not very much there, significant retail presence. Probably no sign for it to really pump anytime soon. And if it does pump together with Bitcoin, it's probably going to be a laggard based on what I'm looking at. So I probably won't be entering this, but there's probably still some money to be made, especially if you're trading these moves. Unless if the technical changes, I probably won't enter it. It might still be a laggard. Another one that people talk a little about that I've seen before, Greenwich Generation Holdings, GREE, underneath the 20-month moving average. Underneath the Ichimoku Cloud, underneath the Tenkan and Kijun. Underneath the Super Ichi Cloud, underneath the Tenkan and Kijun, right? No whale presence at all. I probably would stay away. Again, like all it takes for not just whale to come in, next thing you know, it pop like 40, 50%, 60%, 200% is possible. But so far there's no confirmation, so to me it's gambling. I would probably not enter this because it's really small cap. There's no guarantee, right? DigiHos, same story, no whales, right? Ichimoku Cloud had a little bit of bullish cross over here, but it's underneath, right? So it looks better than GREE, it looks better than HIVE, but still underneath all of these important resistance zone over here. Subichi Cloud, same thing, underneath resistance. Bollinger Band, underneath a Bollinger Band, underneath the 20-month moving average over here, right? I need to see it flip, right? But you are squeezing potentially a big move to break out. If Bitcoin does well, possible. And if it does, would I be surprised if it goes all the way from like $1 to like $4? No, I would not be surprised by that at all. But that would be more of a trade, and it could go down. I don't know, right? There's no confirmation. I bet some people would want to get and enter into this though, right? But there's no whale confirmation here. By the time when whales come in, it could potentially go up like 200% possible, right? But so far there's no confirmation. Underneath the 20-month moving average, underneath all the resistance over here, I'm probably gonna not enter. Some people talk about Canon. Canon is a company that supply miners to mining companies. It's just been a downtrend. There's no whales. There's no bullish divergence to speak of. It's the downtrend. I'll stay away. Finally, one more I want to talk about before I end the video is CORZ. There's only been 6 months of price action. Not much to talk about. I do want to talk about CORZ in terms of whether or not you should enter after it made like a 44% move today. Let's look at it, see what you think, right? I'm going to pull up the weekly pull in Japan is just starting to develop, so I'm going to pull up the daily here. And my answer to you in terms of whether or not I would want to buy where it ended up today, the answer is no. The reason why is because it's way outside upper Bollinger Band. Can it keep on going up on upper Bollinger Band going up? Yes. But there's a great risk for it to gravitate down back underneath the upper Bollinger Band and close this big giant gap over here. At the minimum, it might end up just going down from here or going sideways or going down to wait for the upper Bollinger Band to continue to expand before going up further. Do I think that CORZ is probably going to go up higher based on this big giant volume over here? Based on all these whales are coming in? Yes. Would I buy today after this big giant green candle? No. You're asking for becoming like exit liquidity for short-term traders. They're probably going to end up selling this because it's just way outside of Bollinger Band. Can I be wrong? Sure. Would the risk be elevated if you end entering around here? Yeah, it just ends up closing above the daily Bollinger Band, just up. Sure, it's very risky. I don't think the risk is worth it today, even though it went up like 40% today. Just something to think about. It's a story to tell the tale. I would not chase this. Anyway, it's been 20 minutes. It's been fun talking about these miners. Thank you so much for listening. Have a good one. Bye.